My name is Debbie, and if you have seen my videos today that I posted on my page, you'll know that I'm in the middle of a huge transformation. Transformation is good, right? Life transformation is good. Lining up all of the energies together is absolutely amazing, and that's what I have been doing. As of today, I have undergone a name change. My name has gone back to the name that I was born with, my maiden name. I'm stepping into my divine feminine power. I'm reclaiming it. And from here on today, you will see that my name is no longer Debbie Stroud, but it will be Debbie Meadows. That was my maiden name. That is my maiden name. And I'm really embracing it. And I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited about it. I feel really good down deep inside. It's a good move for me. It's a great energetic move for me. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody. I really feel good about this. So to begin off with, if you will, drop something in the chat to let us know where you are coming to us from. Where are you located? And the people that are watching the replay, there are a lot of people that are going to be watching this replay. If you see the replay, if you could make a comment below, drop a comment below to let us know exactly where you are from. And I'm going to drop in that I am operating right now from Cold Spring, Kentucky. Whoop, I said KYT, but I'm from Cold Spring, Kentucky. Hey, Marina from New York. Hey, Debbie, Vancouver. Thank you so much for being here. Arizona, UK, near London, Fredericksburg, New Jersey, Australia. Thank you. San Mateo, California, Ireland. This is so amazing. What is so amazing to me about this whole thing is that I believe most of you are female. It doesn't matter if you're female or male and you come to this, but my focus has always been healing of the feminine, and us fully stepping into our feminine power. And we are strong individually, but collectively, our collective energy is unstoppable. I want to introduce to you she is my ride or die. She is my best friend. I'm going to replace me right now. And Pamela, can you just say hey to everybody? This is Pamela Mann. She is my ride or die, my best friend in the world. And I'm going to tell you at the end, we have some amazing things planned together. So go ahead and Pamela, just introduce yourself if you will.
Hi, everybody. So good to see you. I'm happy to be here and happy to be facilitating with Debbie.
Perfect.
Give me some spoons. A soup spoon.
Sure.
One.
Who is that? If somebody.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me, Debbie?
Yes, I can.
Oh shoot! I didn't realize that. I tried. How embarrassing! I tried saying hello here from Hawaii, and I wasn't getting anything when I tried to type in the chat. So I will mute myself. I didn't know I was unmuted. Oh my God.
You know what? Here's the thing. That's the beauty of live Zoom. You were supposed to be able to say it to me, and I was supposed to be able to receive it and validate it and send you back all that love. So thank you for saying hello. I appreciate that. And hello back to you, and much love to Hawaii.
Thank you for being you. You're so bright and beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Which is the whole reason that I'm here, y'all. I have a gift and I've got to share it, because if I don't, there's this dull soul level ache that just won't go away. And I just, in order to, everybody in the world wants to receive love, right? We hear people crying from all over the world. Love me, love me, love me, love me. I just want to be loved. And the basic thing about love is that in order to be loved, we have to give love away. And love always multiplies. Love always multiplies when it's given away. And it always finds its way to the people and the places and the things that it's supposed to go to. And it's no coincidence that you all are here tonight. Do you realize that out of the trillions of people in the world, It's no coincidence that all of us are here together. Let me see. We have 18. I have over 100 people signed up for this. And there will probably be people coming in. Of course, I'm going to cut it off after just a little bit and they'll have to watch the replay. But the 18 people that are here right now, it's no coincidence that we were destined to be here together. And Spirit, Creator, who and whatever your higher power is, has ordained it that we are here today as the Feminine Collective. And without further ado, this is going to be a good one, y'all. I'm so excited about this drawing. I'm so excited about this meditation. I'm so excited about the releasing and the clearing that we are going to do tonight. So without anything else, let me give you just a brief intro and then we're going to go right into it. My name is Debbie Meadows. I am an energy healer and I'm an intuitive artist. And without anything else, at my core, my calling is to heal. My calling is to transform. My calling is to bind up wounds. And my calling is to help women step into their feminine and the creative power that they really are, without shame, without anything but the power and the beauty of you. And it's my honor. It's really my honor to come to you every other week and do this energy work with you and for you and together create. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into a comfortable position. I'll take my glasses off. Let's get into a comfortable position. I'm not going to do any music because this is going to be a quick grounding. So when it comes to something like this, when it comes to any time you're grounding yourself or anytime you're going into a meditation, comfort is queen. And you're going to hear me say that over and over and over and over. And I learned that from my mentor. His name is David G. J.I. David G. He is a guru of meditation, and I've learned so much from him. And in order for us to really receive, we have to be comfortable. Because, you know, as women, I mean, let's face it, we wear high heels, we do everything in the name of beauty, and all of it ain't comfortable. And you know that to really fully be yourself and embrace yourself, it has to have comfort. You have to feel good in every area. So whatever you have to do, if you want to sit down, if you want to lie down, whatever it is for you, make yourself comfortable. And then I'd like for you to feather your nest, because as women, we do that every day of our lives. We nurture, we care for, we feather our living spaces. No matter if it's a hotel room, no matter if it is a mansion on the beach, no matter if it is a cabin or an apartment or a condo or whatever it is, we feather our nest. So get yourself comfortable, feather your nest. If you need to tuck some blankets around you or have your drink right there or whatever you need to do, go ahead and do it. And let's sink into closing our eyes and just becoming aware of your breath. That's it. We're not trying to make anything happen. We're not trying to force anything. We are just being. We're just being. And now we're going to take a deep breath together on the inhale, and here we go. Breathe in and just hold it, noticing how it feels in your chest, and gently release it. Just noticing how your body is so beautiful and how it's so wonderfully made. And another deep breath. And that air that's expanding your lungs is full of life. And release it. And at the gentle release, notice that life force energy in the form of air that powers us. And how wonderful it is of Creator to make it that magical that we breathe air that is unseen, yet it is there. And one more time, a big, deep cleansing breath in. And now holding that breath inside you and gently letting it go. And now let's ground ourselves. So from your tailbone or the soles of your feet, whichever you are more comfortable with, let's grow roots down into Mother Earth. And those roots glide effortlessly down, 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 past the bones of your ancestors who are watching over us right now and are cheering us on. Down, down, past underground water, streams, underground caves, roots, rocks, strata, crystals embedded in the earth. Down as wide and as deep as you need. And going on down, you can sense that there is the heart of Mother Earth and you are really drawn to her. So let your roots instinctively wrap around the heart of Mother Earth. And you can feel that love and the connection, and there's no effort. You don't have to make an effort because it's there and it's natural. And as your roots wrap around Mother Earth, you can feel the warmth and the loving energy from her. And now let's take another deep breath. And as we take a deep breath, that earth energy starts to quickly come up your roots and fill up through your soles, up your legs, your knees, your thighs, up to your pelvis. And now gently let that out. And another big, deep, 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 deep breath in. And you're pulling that loving, nurturing Mother Earth energy up through your stomach, up through your chest, up through your shoulders, and it goes right up and through your crown chakra and just shoots all the way through. And you are so full of that warm, energetic, nurturing energy. But now we don't want to stop here because this is deep energetic work and we need all of the support that we can get. And know that this support is available to you at any time, anywhere, because you are loved, you are valued, and you are supported. And so right now, bring your awareness up to your crown chakra, and with a jump up out of that crown chakra into the sky. And there's a thread going up through the sky. It may be golden, it may be silver. It's whatever you want it to be and whatever you need it to be. And we are collectively flying up through the Earth's atmosphere into space. And each of us see that one star that is twinkling and shining more brightly than the other. And you know that that is your divine connection. That is your divine star. And you are inexplicably pulled, just like the tide of the moon. Just like that gravitational pull, you're pulled towards that star and you lovingly go towards that star because you trust that divine connection. And now enter into that star, that illuminating, beautiful lit star that was made just for you. And as you enter that place, receive the divine, unconditional, overwhelming, pure love that is just for you. And it wraps you, that divine love, just like a warm blanket that is so loving and is very empowering. And now let's take a deep breath. And as we do, that gentle, illuminating love and care and security comes down, down, down through that thread, enters your crown chakra and begins to mingle with the Mother Earth energy. Gently let that go. Another deep breath and pull that divine sky energy, divine connection down into you. Notice what color it is. It may be purple, it may be iridescent, it may be silver, and it may be gold. Whatever it is, it's yours. And gently release it. One more big deep breath and pull, 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 pull that divine energy down, 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 and take what you need because there is enough there. There's an infinite supply there. And now gently let it go. And now we are connected to the earth and to the sky. Mother Earth and the divine flow, which both create in us infinite possibilities of creation. That is woman, that is the womb, that is the giver of life, that is creation. And just rest in it just for a moment and just feel those energies intermingling in you. Not for any other reason other than you're just you, because you have intrinsic value and you are loved beyond measure. And when you're ready, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. You may want to move your shoulders around just a little. Maybe move your head around. And gently and slowly, only when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes back into the present moment. Everybody feeling good? Go ahead and put in the chat how you're feeling. And be honest, because honesty, we are all supporting each other here. And if whatever you need, it's available to you here tonight. Good. Thank you, Marina. Rest. Good, Pamela. That felt really good. I hope that you do feel renewed. Give me a number. Give me a number from 1 to 10 where you are right now. You don't have to give me a comment, but just like, how's your day been? How are you doing energetically? How are you doing after Thanksgiving with all of the things that are kind of family? How is that going from 1 to 10, with 1 being the least and 10 being absolutely amazing? Where are you now? Where are you? I would say that I'm about a 9. I'm gonna put that in. 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 6, -7. You know, where you are is where you are, Debbie. I honor you. I honor you. Bit tired, but feeling better. Had an awful couple of days, but felt better as soon as I joined here. I'm so glad. I'm so glad, Vicki, because that's why I'm here. That's it. That's why I'm here. 9. Oh, that was a dash. Sorry, Debbie. I was picturing, whoa, I'm gonna have to do some work on her. No, I just misinterpreted that. So good. I'm glad you're a 7. Good deal. I want to talk to you a little bit about family. And we all know all the things that brings up. We all know that families aren't perfect, right? We're born into families because we choose to travel with people in our soul cluster, and there are things that we learn from this life. And I'm telling you what, for me, I look back and I used to think, before I came to the realization that we are born into soul clusters and that I did choose to come back into this family. One of my mentors talked to me one time, and I was just in a bad way. I was in a bad way about my family. I was in a bad way because I had been born into the life I'd been born in. And she said something to me that really changed the trajectory of my life. And she said, you know what? I respect you so much. And I was like, I just didn't get it. And she said, I respect you because you chose to come into this lifetime knowing what you were going to have to endure, but you chose it anyway. And I want to say that to each of you. No matter how bad it looks, no matter how bad or how uncomfortable it gets at times, we are so powerful, because I know that each of you has a survival story, or else you would not have been drawn to my work. Each of you is a survivor in your own way. And tonight, we're going to do an intuitive drawing together that will help you begin to transform, begin to look at and get clarity around family issues and things that may have held you back. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my family story, because I believe that as women, we are natural storytellers. And I believe as women, when we share stories in circle, and that's what this is a virtual circle. When we share stories in circle, they have the power to set us free, because that's how we relate to each other, right? Because, I've been through a house fire. There's so many things that I've been through in my life, and how can I relate to somebody that has been through a house fire unless I've been through a house fire, right? There's no way anybody can know what it's like unless you've been there. And y'all know, as women, we go through some pretty specific things, and so our stories help to heal. So with that, I'm going to change the spotlight. And I need you to let me know if in the chat, if you cannot see. All right. If you cannot see, you should be able to see perfectly, and you should be able to see this drawing. Move it over just a little bit. There it is. I need to know in the chat before we first start, if there are any of you that have, if this is the first time that you have come to one of my workshops. Are there any of you who do not know what neurolines are? Go ahead and type it in if you don't know what neurolines are or what this whole intuitive process involves. Okay. Let me give just a brief intro then. If y'all would, make sure that you put yourself on mute, so that there will be a time when I'm going to open up the floor in just a little bit, but let me get my Sharpie. Okay. So let me get a piece of paper here. We are ruled by I need to slow down. We are ruled by our subconscious. The subconscious runs the show. You ever had those patterns in your life where they keep repeating? For me, my pattern was choosing the same person in a different body. So I always attracted the people who had issues, because I was a fixer, and because I knew, because I'm such a powerful feminine, that I could fix everybody, right? If I could just get in there and do what I do, then it'll be fixed. Well, y'all know, if you've been in situations like that, that it doesn't work out that way. It just doesn't work that way. Not only did I think that I could fix everybody, but I was born into a family with specific personalities. My family were not great communicators. I spent a lot of my life as a scapegoat, or at least I felt like I was the scapegoat. I felt like I was the black sheep. I always stood out. Lots of things without going into specifics. So here's how this intuitive thing works. When you think of different shapes, all right, let's think of shapes. If I were to play screamo or heavy metal music right now, and y'all know what that is. If I were to play that, think about how that would make you feel on the inside. Would it be really soothing, or would it kind of give you tension? For me, screamo music or heavy metal music has always created tension in me. Now, some people in the new generations, like when I teach high school, some of them are different because they really like that. I can't imagine how anybody would relax to scream over heavy metal, but anyway, they do. But to me, that would be like this. You see that? I don't know if you can see that. Let me do it with another marker. If I was to do a what's called a catharsis, we call it in intuitive art a catharsis. If I was to do a release, right? If I was to do a release and heavy metal music was playing, it would probably look something like that, right? And it probably would not be that rounded. Okay. So the way that we draw these things and the way that we transmute the emotions is first to identify them what they are in the first place. And in this intuitive drawing process, every line that you draw, every line that I draw, every line that you draw, before we begin tonight, we're going to ask our higher selves, our spirit selves, to help us in this. And that help is always readily available. Just like I said, the divine, the help from the divine, the help from your higher power is always there. That higher self, that spirit, you are a spirit having a human experience, is always there. And that help is always available to you. So if this is what heavy metal looks like to me, then if I'm playing soft meditation music, this might be what it looks like. Do y'all get the difference? Does that make sense? Different lines and different shapes have different energies, and they carry different energies. When you think about, let's think about a triangle. A triangle is very powerful energetically. When you're talking about energy healing and you're talking about intuitive art and healing art, triangle has a specific power. But these lines that meet, I call them a vertices, right? Where the corners meet. These lines carry tension. It may be powerful, but it still carries tension. And in this drawing process, our aim is to go from tension to harmony. Now, how do we do that? Well, think about what kind of energy this has. And now think about what kind of energy it has when I draw a circle around it. There's an immediate calm, right? And another thing that we do in this process is we always round. I'm trying to draw this upside down, but I think that I'm doing it. Yeah, rounding. We round it out. And the way we do this is we turn the V's with the tension into a U, right? So the way that we would do this is we would round out this corner, round out all of these corners. It would be like wherever there's an intersection of two lines, we would take these V's and we would transmute them into U's. And we do body scans and we become really aware of our body and what's going on inside it. And if things are changing or if things are not, right? So we just transform this from static energy, like irritation, annoyance, and we just transform this into more harmony, right? It's really interesting when we draw these lines. They're called neuro lines, N-E-U-R-O, like like nerves. They really kind of resemble that too. When I show you this drawing that I did, the one that we're going to do, you can see these intuitive lines. They each carry energy, and we activate that energy in the drawing process. And then no matter where you hang this thing, that energy is embedded in that drawing, and it has a specific energy to it. And we embed intentions into it. We go on a healing journey. And this artwork, this drawing, is the result of the journey. Okay. So if I was going to go ahead and round out this, and I was going to transmute this, and like lines like this, there are no mistakes. See where I didn't go over this the whole way? That's not a mistake. My subconscious wanted that there. And so I just go around and I'm going to round out this whole thing, even these little places. Now, for me, I've done this process two ways. I have drawn all of my lines and then gone back and done the rounding. And I get very overwhelmed when it comes to that. So what I do is I draw some of my lines, and then I go back and I round them all, because one thing is a cardinal rule in this drawing process is that never draw more neuro lines than you can round out. And here's the reason for that. If you are in an energetic turmoil, right? If you're thinking about this, and when we get into this family thing here in just a second, you're going to see how that's going to play out. Okay. If we're in the middle of transmuting energy and we're like, oh geez, I lost track of the time, I'm going to have to go, and I'm going to have to go do my groceries, or I've got to clean the house, or I've got a meeting or whatever, and we leave this here, we don't ever want to leave it in disharmony, because we've negated the process if we do that. What we want to do is to soothe out this energy. And you may not be able to finish the whole drawing, and that's okay. You can come back to the drawing, but you don't want to come back and finish rounding. Okay. So if you know that you're not going to be able to finish a drawing, only draw as many lines as you can round out. Like tonight, if you have to leave early, that's totally fine. You're going to get the replay tomorrow. If you cannot make it, then that's fine, but only draw as many lines as you're going to be able to round out. Okay. Tonight, I'm going to use a piece of paper. Let me just ask, does anybody have any questions about that? Is that making sense to you? Is the explanation making sense, or do I need to explain it another way? Okay, thank you, Deb. Deb's giving me a thumbs up. Let me put this on gallery view so I can see everybody. See people who have their cameras on. Ruth Ann, you good? Gotcha. Debbie Meyer, you're good. Gotcha. Okay, thank you, Michelle. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to bear with me here, to speaker view. Okay, so now tonight I'm gonna draw with, I've got a piece of paper. You can do it in your sketchbook, you know, whatever you want to use. This is totally up to you. Or if you want just a regular piece of paper that is dedicated to it, that's fine too. I am going to use a thick Sharpie tonight, if I can get one to actually work for me. That's really good. If I can't, then I'm going to do something else. I've done these drawings in the past with colored pencil. Tonight, I'm going to use a highlighter. Actually, I'm going to use 3 highlighters, because that's what I've been intuitively led to do. And in this whole process, thank you, Vicki. I'm glad. That's the best you've ever explained. Thank you. Let me tell you something. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I have gone through an up level in the past week. I have dropped so much negative energy. I've transformed so many things, and I'm just ready. I'm just so ready. I'm going to try to use a black Sharpie. And yeah, I know my energy's buzzing right now. Like my hands are buzzing too. It's the craziest thing in the world, but I love it. So I'm going to use a black Sharpie, and if I can find these little things, oh yeah, I'm going to use a orange highlighter. It's not orange, that's pink. I'm going to use a yellow highlighter, and I'm going to use a blue marker. This is not a highlighter, it's a marker, but you can use a highlighter, or you guys, y'all use whatever you want to use. You can use markers, you can use colored pencil, you can use crayons. There is no limit. And you don't even have to know how to draw a line to do this thing. Right? You don't even have to draw a straight line. I hear people tell me I cannot draw stick figures. Well, that's good, because you don't have to draw stick figures in this thing. So everybody can succeed. Everybody's going to be able to succeed in this. So here's what we're going to do first. Everybody take just a moment. Close your eyes, connect with your spirit self, whether it's dropping your awareness down inside, or whether it's feeling that divine energy that you breathed on the inside of you. And now let's ask, and I'm going to put a hand on my heart, and y'all don't have to do this, but this is just how I do it. And I'm going to ask my higher self, my spirit self, will you participate in this energetic healing journey with me? And your higher self will speak immediately to you. Mine just said, yes, let's do this thing. And then you say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, spirit self, for participating with me. Thank you. All right. Here we go. We are going to think about our families. I want you to think about the last interaction that you had with your family where there was tension, right? Where there was tension. Because why would we need to go on an energetic journey if it's peaceful, right? So think about the last one that you had with your family where there was tension. And I want you to start where you're intuitively led, anywhere on the page, and you're going to connect the top and the bottom. Now, for you people who are here the first time, here's what I want to say to you. If you're up in arms about creating these neural lines and you're just not sure, listen, this system's foolproof. Get a marker lid, get a penny or a quarter or the lid from your water bottle. That's what I'm going to use right there, the lid from my water bottle. And your higher self will show you the way. This is your first step in learning to trust your intuition. If you've never done this before, I'm holding your hand every step of the way. And this is how you trust your intuition. If you're not able to trust it yet, you're not able to trust it. And that's where you are, right? So put where intuitively, where are you going to put it? Well, let's see. If you move it over here, your spirit self is going to tell you. I need to put mine right there. Now I'm going to take this Sharpie and I'm going to start pushing it. I'm not paying attention to where it's going. I'm just going to go slow and deliberate. And I'm going to push. My higher self is showing me the way. And it's going to get to the point where this thing is going to go off the page, and that's fine. Just catch it and connect the top and the bottom. All right. Now feel into, energetically, intuitively, feel into where this thing is supposed to be. Another line. Where's the next line supposed to be? Doesn't matter. Whatever your intuition is, because this is learning to trust yourself. Mine needs to be right here. And again, I'm just going to draw and I'm going to connect the bottom to the top. All right, there are 2 lines. Now I want you to feel intuitively into, is this your tree? And your higher self, your spirit self will show you. For me, I know that this line I know is important. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but this is all about learning to trust this process. And if you don't get anything else out of tonight, I really, 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 however many times I said really, that's serious. I really want you to feel into learning to trust what's on the inside of you, because the inside of you will never, ever, ever, ever steer you wrong once you learn to recognize that voice. It will never steer you wrong. For me, I know that I need to draw another line. And in fact, I know that I need to draw 2 other lines. And I know that I want my foundation to be firm. Because my foundation of healing needs to be firm, and it needs to be wide, and it needs to be something I can count on. I'm going to reference the Bible here, and I can't believe that I'm doing this, but y'all know that I had a real history in the church. I was raised in the southern part of the Bible Belt in the Baptist church. And if there's one thing I learned during vacation Bible schools and everything that goes on with that, is the stories and the parables from the New Testament. You know, there's a story there that talks about your foundation being built, and a guy built his house on the sand. And when the tide came in, the foundation was washed away because it was not secure. But this other guy came in and he built his house on a rock. And when he put his foundation on a rock, the tide came in, the hurricane could come in, whatever could come in, and that foundation was not going to move. So make your foundation as thick as it needs to go. My foundation is going to come from each corner. I don't know where yours is going to come, and I'm going to intuitively draw this. And seriously, with this, the slower you go, the better it is. The slower you go, the better it is. I feel really good about that. I feel really good about this. So now I'm going to go over here to this other corner. And y'all, this is just me. You can find your way. You can find your way. Just trust that voice on the inside of you. Start from the corner. And again, I'm going to draw this intuitive line. All it is a meandering line. It is not straight. I'm not drawing anything. I'm not making anything happen. I'm not forcing anything to happen. I just know that this tree needs to be big. And there it is. I've done so many of these drawings, and I can honestly tell you that they are completely and totally different every single time I do them. Every single time. Now I want to invite you to think about your family. Think about different family members. And as you do that, start to draw in neural lines in the inside of the tree. After you're satisfied with how wide your tree needs to be and where the foundation needs to go, now you can start thinking about whatever else needs to go into this thing. And I'm just going to start at the bottom. Some of these I'm going to start at the bottom. Some of them are going to intersect each other. I'm thinking right now about my relationship with my brother. I have one brother, and he is 2 years younger than me. And unfortunately, he has not spoken to me in about at least 3 years. I love him unconditionally. And I've also come to the realization that I can only love unconditionally and control myself. And y'all know what? When you get to the point, and each of us, it's different in our own journeys, that when we get to that point where we can love unconditionally, no matter what, and allow that person to be who they are without judgment, we take the energetic negativity out of ourselves. And there is no room for energetic negative. And what else is there? There's only negative and positive, right? So we allow that flow of positive energy. We allow that flow of positive love to manifest into that relationship. Will I ever talk to my brother? Will my brother ever talk to me again? I don't know. I honestly cannot tell you. Would I love for that to happen? Absolutely. I would give almost anything for that to happen because I love him. But I can't control it. So why would I invest emotional energy into something that I cannot control? I tend to me, and the rest falls into place. When I focus on my own healing and my own worth and the gifts that Debbie has to offer the world, and when I focus on who we are as a collective, who we are as women, and the things that we create in our worlds, when I focus on that, I am filled with a sense of hope. You know, it's so funny. I'm in a women's group and Pamela's in the same group with me. And we have a word of the week that we each meditate on and we sit with. And my word for the week was exuberance. And I'm telling you what, this is one of the hardest weeks of my life. And when I was given exuberance on Saturday, I was like, God, Spirit, what the heck? Why are you giving me this? Because I don't feel exuberant at all. But joy comes when everything is let go. And when we realize the thing that I've been really meditating on. Okay, let me interrupt right here. Watch what I'm doing. I came up and I joined with this one for some reason, and I'm kind of drawing with it, but I'm not hitting it all together. And it creates these little bitty openings right here. Y'all see that? I'm going to pull that up. Y'all see that? Where it's kind of overlapped right there. That's okay. And that's good. So you may want to draw over another line. When I meditate on who I am, and when I meditate on nothing else but looking at the worth of Debbie, not because Debbie is able to do things, not because Ruth Ann is able to do things, not because Deb is able to do things, not because Debbie is able to do things. And I'm going to go through each of you. Not so Radhika. Am I pronouncing that right, Radhika? Not because Radhika can do things, or not because Michelle can do things, or not because Selena, or I hope that I pronounced this right, Kana, Vicky, Aaron, Marina, Karen, Missy, Vicky, Elizabeth, Adrian, Tina. Not because we can do things, but just because we be, right? Just because we be. And there's nothing we can do right now to make the divine love us anymore. There's nothing that we can do or say to receive that love, to make, let me rephrase that. There's nothing we can do or say to make that love anymore. It is already at the fullness. Our source is the fullness of who and what we are. So when we get into the being part, the doing automatically happens, right? When we step into fully who we be, and I'm not saying who we are, who we be. We step into the fullness of what we're made of. And the most beautiful thing about us, we don't have to do anything to be beautiful. We don't have to do anything to make us more lovable. We're lovable just because we are. Our inherent worth is not dependent on what we do. So whether you are in a family situation right now where you feel like you're in a catch-22, you know, you're in the do if it happens and you're in the do if it doesn't. You know, those catch-22s, no matter what you do is not the right thing. Pull your energy back. Pull your energy back and focus on your inherent worth. And just spend some time loving on you, because listen, there's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you, no matter who says it or who confesses it as truth. There's something wrong with you. You're too much. You're not enough. No, you're not. Because when you were created perfect. You were created with the tools that you were supposed to have when you entered this life. There's nothing wrong with you. What if the things that you think are wrong with you and the things that I think are wrong with me, which I've healed so much in this area, but we never ever arrive totally. What if the things that we thought was wrong with us are actually the things that are right? I have a client that I have a wonderful relationship with, and she has this big calling on her life. And I've really been working with her to get to that calling. And I can tell you that she has gone leaps and bounds. When I first started working with her, probably 4 or 5 months ago, she couldn't even get this thing off the ground. And in just learning to love herself and learning to step into and see all the rightness of who she is, not what she does, who she is. She started to attract these people to her that were helping her accomplish this calling and this mission on the inside of her. And I'm not saying this to toot my own horn at all, y'all. But if we can just taste a little bit of what it is that makes us uniquely us and celebrate that, and know that our source, our spirit, creator, whatever you call, and whoever you call your higher power, God, goddess, whatever you say, has created us with the exact giftings and the exact rightness that we need to accomplish what we are accomplishing in the world, it makes you show up. You show up a little different. You show up in celebration of yourself, and there's nothing wrong with you. In fact, there's everything right with you. Step out of your smallness into your bigness of who you are. You are perfect, just the way you are. And in saying all that, now I have drawn all of these beautiful lines, and I'm going to take that same Sharpie and I am going to start rounding. Sometimes when I round, I go back over the line just a little bit, just to integrate the whole thing. And sometimes, like when I split off, like these little lines that are split off, on some of these, I'm going to round them out just by putting a dot because they're so small that if I try to do anything else, then it's going to mess up the whole thing. Actually, it's not going to mess up the whole thing because if I thought it did, I would just draw another line and that would make it perfect, keep it perfect because it never was anything than less than perfect in the first place. So I'm just going to go through here. I think that this tip of the Sharpie is not thin enough, so I'm going to pull out my, let's see what I got here. Let me look for it. I'm going to pull out my ultra fine Sharpie and look on the camera. I've got it right here. See, this is the fine Sharpie that I was using. I'm going to pull out my ultra fine Sharpie. Y'all can do this with an ink pen. It doesn't matter what you do it with. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to go through here and just really, maybe if this thing is going to write, which guess what? It's not going to. Plan B. Let me grab another one. There we go. So just take some time. And as you are rounding out these lines, I want you to start thinking of, and we're going to do a free write in just a second. I want you to start thinking of all the resources that are available to you. All of the resources that are available to you on a daily basis. They could be friends. They could be your job. It could be unique gifts and talents, right? So the first thing we're going to do while we're rounding is you're thinking again about your resources. What resources are available to me? Maybe it's your spiritual beliefs. Maybe it is your meditation practice. Maybe it's your painting practice. Maybe you like to read and you immerse yourself in self-help books and personal development. Maybe it's talking to a trusted friend. That could be a great resource. I have unloaded things on Pamela that I would not. Now, let's say unloaded. I have shared things because in a ride or die situation like that, you can unload on each other, but it's not like an unloading because we hold each other in our highest light. But I have shared things with her that it was just great to be able to trust someone enough that I can share my innermost thoughts and she hears me and she sees me and she still holds me in my highest light. That's unconditional love. Maybe your resources are specific talents that you have. Maybe there are giftings that are put on the inside of you. Maybe you are able to play music and it really soothes you when things happen. You know, all of us have a go-to. You know, for some people, seriously, it's food. You cook something and you are filled with yummy nourishment and you really get a lot out of creating and making that food, and then it nourishes your body. That could be a resource. There are so many resources available to us. Sometimes when we're in the thick of things, we forget about those resources, but they're always there, always there. I'm going to give you about 10, 15, 20 more seconds to round out. And don't think that you have to have it finished. You're just going to turn your paper over. I'm going to have you do something. Then we're going to go back to rounding because this is an energetic process, right? So think about all of the things that are your resources. Ask your higher self to help you. Ask your spirit self to help you because you asked if you would if your spirit would assist you in this healing journey. And let's see, the ones that I can see of you are drawing. So apparently your higher self said yes, some semblance of yes. So get to a place in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and you're relaxing. There is no hurry here because you're going to come back to it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So pick your pencil up or your pen or whatever you're using and flip your paper over. I want you to write resources. Now, I'm going to ask my friend Alexa to give me a timer for a minute. And I want you to just free write. What resources are available to you? Just free write. Okay, here we go. Alexa, set a timer for, let's say, 30 seconds. Ready, go. Start writing. Alexa, stop. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you feel like you have other things that you need to write. Otherwise, okay, I'm gonna set the timer for 1.5 minutes then, because I usually give people 2 minutes to do this. Alexa, set a timer for 1 minute, 30 seconds. Okay, so keep going. Sometimes you'll find that words are repeated over and over and over. I have done that. If you need to take just a second and just think, that's okay too. So if there's a word that keeps coming over and over, that word is being brought up to you by your higher self and it has significance. You may not know what it is right now, but it is significant. All right, go ahead and finish writing the word that you're on, and then let's stop. Alexa, stop. So I want you to count them, count the words that you have. We are looking for at least 20. And just drop in the chat how many words you wrote. I had right at 21. Perfect, wonderful, 20, 21, 32, 25, 22. Look at all those resources, y'all. No, Michelle, it's totally fine. 18 is fine. 18 is perfect. You're very close to 20. So these are all the resources, y'all, that are available to us as we navigate through this family thing. You're never alone, ever. Sometimes we feel alone, but we're never alone. Flip your page back over. And now I want to, if you need to round, if you need to keep rounding, go ahead and do that. I've got a few more to do myself. I want to encourage you also, after this session is over, to step away from your drawing. And by that, I mean, keep it on the table, stand up and look at it from another angle, because a lot of times you'll see some corners that weren't rounded that you need to round. Now, let's do a quick body scan while you don't even have to stop while you're rounding. Think about and feel about how you're feeling. Do you feel tension? Is your jaw slack, or is your jaw kind of clenched? Right? Are you apprehensive? Are you anxious? And there is no forcing or making it happen or not making it happen or trying to stop it. There's just witnessing. That's it. Just witnessing. Just witness it. Witness and accept. And if you want to make notes on the back about how you're feeling right now, so you can remember later, do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm almost to the point where I think I have rounded everything. Oh, no, here's a couple that I missed. Make sure that those things, those V's are really rounded well. Sometimes you're going to want to go back in and just really fill it into places like this, right here, right there. I'm going to want to really go back in there and round that out very, very well, because it wasn't rounded out enough to really soothe and transmute that energy. Okay. I'm going through here. Here's a couple lines that I need to draw. So when we think about a tree, we think about what? What do you think about when you think about a tree? Well, of course, there's the tree, right? There's the bark. What else? What about where your lines hit the corners of the paper? So, Vicki, that's totally up to you. I don't round it off where my lines hit the edges of the paper, because they ground themselves to each side of the paper. And I personally don't feel that I need to round that out. However, if you do, if you feel like that needs to be rounded out, if there's tension there, then by all means do it. So in thinking about the different parts of the tree, there's bark, right? There's roots. There are the branches. There are, what else? There's fruit, right? And the fruit is the epitome of why the tree is there in the first place, right? Because out of the fruit comes birth. And if there was no fruit, there would be no birth. There would be no newness. There would be no creation. So I would like for you to kind of start looking intuitively. And as you're looking through here, there will be circles that will pop out at you. And just draw that circle, because all of these spaces are amazing places now, because they're not rounded. I mean, because they are rounded, they are very ready to hold circles. And our circles are going to be our fruit. So draw that circle in. And as you draw each circle in, I would like for you to, first of all, of course, round it out. I'll make this a little, I have to get some more Sharpies before I do another one of these, because my Sharpies have just about given out. Oh, that one's better. I'm going to round it out wherever to integrate that circle into the webbing, the neural energy, the subconscious energy of this tree. And this is the tree of you. This is a healing tree. And you are creating this with your own energy. You are birthing this from your womb of creation. And as I've drawn the first one, I am just going to go back through here. I'm going to turn my thing over and I'm going to look at which one of these resources jumps out at me. For me, my first one is going to be my dad. My dad is an amazing resource in my life. It wasn't always that way, but it is now. And so somewhere in this fruit right here, this resource that I know I have, I'm going to write my dad, or I'm just going to write dad as my resource. And I'm going to add that energetically into this tree. You can write it really small. You can integrate it into one of the spaces here. You might want to write it to where I'll show you, where the letters touch the top and the bottom. I really like that. Let me turn that around so y'all can see it. You see that where I've written dad there and I've really integrated into part of the tree. And so what I'm going to do now, since I did that, is I'm going to kind of draw some neural lines around this and really integrate that other line work that I did so that you really won't be able to even see it when I finish. Can you see how I did that? I really integrated that, those letters in. Let me see. There you go. That's my first resource. I know I have all kinds of other resources no matter what comes, no matter what's going on in my family, no matter what's going on in my life. This is my healing journey. And part of that is recognizing that there are resources available to me. So I'm going to go back through here. What else is available to me? Well, I have amazing friends. I'm so blessed that I have a handful of trusted, amazing friends. And I'm just feeling that that needs to go right here. And I am not really paying attention to how or what this circle looks like. I'm just energetically feeling into it. And it's all about learning to trust what you feel. And you can trust what you feel because you will not be steered in the wrong direction. And then I'm going to round everything out. Round it out. By the way, the client that I was telling you about that tried to get everything, that she has gotten this calling, this amazing project that she wanted, that she really wanted some help with in stepping into. She started not knowing what to do. And a couple of weeks ago, she got a call from a lady who was writing an article on her idea. And the lady submitted her idea and her article to National Geographic magazine. Y'all, I don't know, but I think National Geographic magazine's huge. It has nothing to do with she only being the one. If that happens for her, it can happen for any of us. As long as we get clear and as long as we have the courage to step forward and know the resources that we have available. So this one, I'm going to write friends. And I'm just going to kind of label it all the way around. My friends are a big part of my resources. And I really like how this looks when I integrate the lettering into, because you can kind of see it, but it kind of like becomes part of the tree. I really, really like the way that looks. I love the way that looks, actually. When other people see it, they won't know automatically the resources that are there, but I do because I created it. And I'm just gonna, I really, really super like that. Super like it. I love it. I'm rounding off those letters. And again, I'm gonna just start drawing circles. In fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and draw several. I'm gonna settle on, 11. And some of them are gonna be interlocking. So I'm gonna have some of them overlap. And again, just listen to your intuition. Your intuition will tell you exactly how many need to be. And here's what I would also encourage you to do. All of them don't need to be in the tree. Some of them may be kind of in the tree and kind of outside of the tree. One, two, three, four, five, six. I may do more than 7. Can everybody hear me? Can anybody not hear me? Vicki says that her sound has gone down. Can everybody hear me? Pamela, you can hear me? Okay. Vicki, I think everybody can hear. If you need to, you can go out and then come back in and I will totally readmit you. Michelle, I think about how small a percentage of the cells in a mature living tree are actually biologically alive. Wow. It's like 1%. How small of a percentage in the cells of a mature living tree are actually biologically alive. Good, Vicki. You're welcome. You know, and that's a cool thing too, Michelle, about how many of those cells, the percentage of those cells are actually alive. But that tree is stronger because it's weathered a lot and it has established a firm foundation and it has recognized its resources, right? Well, there was a lot of things that helped that tree get to the place where it was strong and it was mature and it is stable and large. That's the same exact thing as we're doing right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this one's going to be kind of outside. 9. I'm going to balance this out, but I think some of these really need to be at the top. 10. And I'm feeling one that's going to be down here near the bottom. Okay, so I've got all of my fruit. This is the fruit of my Neurotree. I'm just going to take a minute and go back by. And if you see this line right here that I've drawn, it's not completely filled in. That's okay. Just go through there and round that thing out. I have quite a few of them like that, and that's totally okay. So only create as many right now, because you can totally keep working on this drawing after we're finished. Only create enough right now that you're able to round out, and I can round out these really quickly, and then we'll go on to the next one. And I am going to go back for the sake of time, and I'm going to write in my resources here in just a little bit. I'm not going to label them all because I want to go back, and this is just me, y'all. I want to go back and I'm going to round out the letters where they become like infused into the tree. And you can see that there are letters there, but people looking at it are not going to know exactly what's there, but I sure will. I'll know exactly what's there. So rounding out. And let's do a quick body scan right now again. How do you feel after rounding out all of these things and starting to draw in your fruit? How are you feeling? Are you breathing naturally? Are you breathing slowly? Has your breathing gotten a lot faster? Pay attention to your shoulders. Are your shoulders relaxed? Pay attention to the muscles in your thighs. What's going on there? Pay attention to how your bottom is supported in the seat. Are you relaxed and comfortable, or do you still feel irritated? If you feel irritated, I want to recommend to you just to keep rounding, because this whole process is very meditative, and all of the emotions, and actually you can do this too. If you feel like one piece of paper is not enough, always feel free to grab another piece of paper and either tape it so that there are two pieces of paper, or make it a lot taller. Always, you don't ever have to be limited to one piece of paper, ever. What's really important is that you just listen to yourself and do it. Listen to yourself and follow what your spirit self is telling you to do or encouraging you to do. It's so important just to be able to recognize in us that, I want to tell y'all something. This is really close to my heart. You can hear from the divine. The divine will speak to you. God, goddess, spirit, source, creator, whatever your label is, it doesn't matter. It's the same life force energy. And if anybody ever tells you that you cannot hear the divine for yourself, run away as fast as possible. Remove yourself from that situation, because that is not true. The divine is readily available and readily accessible and lives inside of all of us. We're all filled with the same life force energy that gives us life. That's all it is. It's life force energy that was breathed into us when we were created. And seriously, it doesn't matter what your view and how you believe that you were created. That has nothing to do with the fact that you are full of life force energy, however you believe you were created. I'm rounding out all of my circles. And I can tell y'all that I was very excited about tonight. Very excited about tonight. I was kind of iffy about my tech stuff. I thought that I'd worked everything out, and I think for the most part we have. And we learn and grow, right? We learn and grow. And the most important thing is that you show up. So all of us have shown up, and we're here, and we are experiencing healing as a collective. We are experiencing a healing journey as a collective. And that's a beautiful thing, especially as a feminine collective, because we have the innate, beautiful, important gift of birth and creation. Life and creation comes from our womb. And with that energy, we are able to create so much more in our lives, so much more in our lives. Anything you can imagine, you can create. That's the beauty of it. Anything you imagine, you can create. Now, I'm going to look here. Oh, there's a couple that I've missed. Let me look at the time. 8:21. Okay, so I don't want this to go over 2 hours. And I think we are right on schedule. We are right on time. Right on time. Got it. That's good. Just going to look through here. The next step I want to encourage you to do is think about your desired outcomes. You have all these resources. What do you want to create? What do you want to heal from? What do you want? What is your end goal? What is the light at the end of your tunnel? So in starting on this healing journey, this is a family tree. Yes, this is a neuro healing tree, but it's specifically meant to help you and heal you especially in these times of the holidays when you are faced with the challenge of families. And you're faced with the challenge sometimes of, how do I show up? What do I be? How do I be? And how do I respond sometimes instead of react? So I want to encourage you. Here's your tree. You've got fruit. Now I'll begin to draw a few neuro lines that connect to the sides of the page. And you can draw them however you want. I'm just going to draw a few, and some of them are going to intersect. And this is going to be, because I recognize several things that I really, really am expecting to happen as a result of this. Things that I'm expecting to really happen as a result of making things plain, recognizing the resources that are available to me and my inherent worth and the creative power that is each of us. Not just Debbie because she showed up, not just Pamela because she is co-hosting, not just us, but as a collective, all of us, the healing, the resources that are available to us all as we reach out and take them. And as normal, as usual, go ahead and integrate those lines, those neural lines that you're drawing into your drawing. Go ahead and integrate all of them, round them out. And by rounding them out, you are activating that energy. The thoughts are the neural lines. The activation is the rounding, because you're really paying attention to the energy that's going on the inside of you. You're really thinking about and kind of even, it's a meditative process. You can even say that you're meditating on and forming affirmations and intentions for what you want this healing journey to be, because this is yours. This is your healing journey. It's yours. And it's beautiful to you. It's not like mine. It's not like Michelle's. It's not like Deb's. Everybody's is different, and everybody's is valid, and everybody's is beautiful. And as we heal ourselves, y'all, we heal each other. We amplify that healing power and amplify the love in our lives and the love that's available to us all. Let me look here. I think that I'm really satisfied with that. Again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to label resources in here, but I'm not going to do it right now for the sake of time. So the next thing I want to do, you feel free on the last one that I did, and look at this one. You can tell that I integrated the moon into this, because in this particular drawing, this was about another energy. This is another healing for me. And I really wanted to activate that energy and all that that symbol means to me, right? You can integrate any kind of symbol you want. If you were in my Hamsa workshop, we talked about different symbols that we could put on the inside of that Hamsa as an energetic symbol for you. So whatever you're feeling called to, if it's a shape, whatever it is, a moon or like an energetic aura or wings or, whatever it is, there is no right or wrong. For the sake of time, I'm not going to put that on my tree, but I am going to put a couple of more fruits on here, because when I look at the things that I want to happen in my life energetically in the near future, I'm reminded of a lot of resources. And now I want to show you this. I've drawn in this line, and it didn't go all the way out to this other line here. So I'm just going to round it out and then color this in. Let me show you. I rounded this out and colored this in and just made it solid right there. Anything goes, right? In this, you can make it whatever you want it to be. Now I'm going to do kind of a grounding into this thing myself. And these are called field lines, right? When we draw field lines in an energetic drawing like this, we are surrendering. We've grounded into what we want it to be. We've intuitively felt into what we want the tree to look like. We have explored transmuting the emotions and being really, really cognizant and really recognizing what is going on inside our bodies, not trying to make things happen. We have just witnessed and accepted. We have drawn this fruit in this beautiful tree that signifies all of the resources that are available to us. And we have connected to the sides, which are going to be our desired outcomes. They are going to be our light at the end of the tunnel. What do you want to happen with all of this? What was the tension? What is the tension in the first place? Is it with a family member? Is it because, you feel like you're not worth enough? Is it because you get a ticket? I love this. This is one of my favorites. Don't take the ticket to the guilt train. Give that ticket back to the travel agent where it came from. No. We're not about traveling on the guilt trip train. So if it's getting off that guilt trip train, then maybe that's it, right? I'm going to release that guilt. I'm not going to accept that anymore because I know my inherent worth. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I am worthy and I'm beautiful just like I am. So I'm going to fixate it now. These are called field lines. I'm going to take my blue marker, and y'all know I'm not going to use colored marker. I'm not going to use colored pencils tonight. I want to say this. This is just a technical thing before we start doing this. If you're going to use highlighter, you need to use Sharpie that is waterproof, because what's going to happen, and I found this out the hard way, what's going to happen if you use this highlighter over like those Papermate Flare pencils, or that Papermate Flare, those felt tip pens that I really like to use, it's going to smear all of this. And you're going to, oh my God, you're going to go, oh my gosh, I've just, I've done all this beautiful work and now it's smeared. So make sure if you're using highlighter that it's going to be colored over marker that is waterproof, all right? So I am just going to outline in this. I'm going to outline what I want to fixate. And one of the things that I want to fixate for me and activate is this tree, this whole tree. So I am just going to trace the line right there. That's one side of my tree. And you know what? No. This is not my tree. So here's what I'm going to do. I looked here and I thought, oh, that's not going to the edge. I'm going to come down and I'm going to go over. And I'm going to fixate on that because I want my foundation. I want my trunk to be very, very strong. And when I do that, I'm just going to simply round this out. And I can do this with this large marker. I'm just going to round it out in the places where it needs to be rounded out so that there is no harsh edges, right? I want that to be gentle energy. And I want that to be real, real surrender. So there it is. That's one side. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to activate this part of my tree, which is the other side. I'm just going to go all the way up. And anywhere that you need to round it off, just go back and round it off. Very gently. Go back and round it. In some places, it's going to be fine. In other places, you're going to be led to really soothe out that energy. Because in doing this, you're releasing this whole thing to the universe. You're releasing it. I'm looking at this thing and I'm feeling a little bit of tension about this upper part. And I'm feeling that I'm rooted and grounded here, but I want to reach up. I want to reach out and take what is so readily available to me. So for me, I'm going to come up to here and I'm going to go all the way out to the edge of the page. For me. And then I'm just going to round that out because for me, I'm listening to my inner self and my inner self is telling me that this needs to be wider. I need to be able to and want to be able to access all of the things that are so readily available for me just to reach out and take, that are my birthright, such as freedom, such as lightness, such as success, such as favor, divine favor, such as abundance. All of those things are my birthright. And guess what? If they're my birthright, they're your birthright too. All you have to do is reach out and take them and believe that they're yours, and start integrating that and really grounding into the belief of that into your life. I'm going to feel into, I've done these field lines here, and I'm surrendering all of this to the universe. I'm going to draw down this line intuitively. Where do I go? And I'm just going to make one more of these lines all the way down so that this tree is integrated with the field lines. That's what these are called, the ones that you bold. And if there's any kind of fruit, any of this fruit that is super, super really prevalent that you really, really want to use in your healing, then outline that too. And I'm really feeling called to outline these three. Now, you don't want, in this process, I would not recommend, however, this is your drawing and you can do with it what you want. I would not recommend that you use more, or you draw more than like 4 or 5 field lines, 4 or 5 things, surrender lines, 4 or 5 things where you activate the universe's part in it. And now it's time to color. So in this process, I'm going to use this yellow highlighter. I'm just going to look into it and feel into it. And I'm hoping that by adding color after I add the field lines, I usually add color and then field lines. For some reason, I just really felt led to do field lines and then color. I'm going to start joining together all of the parts of this tree, and we're going to bring it together. And I am going to just start to color. And one of the reasons that I love to use these highlighters is because it goes really fast. You can, this is not going to work very well. I've got another yellow, and so I'm going to use this yellow. You can really cover a lot of ground quick. And, you know, and look at this. I kind of like this though. I kind of really super like this, that I'm coloring with this highlighter. And when I get to this point, it's kind of smearing that line a little bit, kind of blending it in. I really, really like how that looks. And it kind of looks like a blended / painterly look. I'm just going to go all the way up through here and just really color this. And this is going to open up. You can use as many colors on this as you want. You can come back to this later, right? And add like value. I'll show you this one that I did after the class. After I did this on the first time, I really came back through here and I paid some good attention, and I spent some really good time in creating value, darks and lights. And you may want to do this too. And you may feel like it's finished. If it's finished, then it's finished and it's okay. It is what it is, right? Because each of these are your own individual journey. Now, because I know that this is going to smear this line a little bit, I'm not going to color through this. I'm going to color what we call with the contours. It's like with the curves of whatever it is, right? So I'm going to color this curved, because I don't want this to be smeared all over, and I want to control the smear. So I'm going to color around the contours of the circle and just kind of control that smear, and then I'll fill in the rest of this because I know that it's smearing and I kind of like the way it smears, and it's okay. It kind of gives it that cool, like greenish glow. I like that. It's almost like it's illuminating all of these things. Now you can go back and fill this in with your resources if you want to after you get this finished. And it's okay if you are not right there where I am right now. This replay is going to be available and it'll be sent out tomorrow through the Eventbrite link. You'll get an email from me through that Eventbrite link. And hopefully we worked out all the kinks. Pamela's helping me record, so hopefully we'll just be able to get that right out to you. Okay, here is my first spell swoop. Now I'm going to feel into, do I want to create another yellow or not? What do I want to do? Actually, I don't right now. I'm going to go to my pink. And I'm feeling into this, and I really feel like I need to do this pink. And I hope that this is, I'm going to make this last. Spirit, please help this to go far. If you have a marker, this is an art hack, a tip. If you have a marker that is kind of going out and you want to make it last a little bit longer, the easiest thing to do is to turn it as you're coloring. Color a little bit and then turn it again. And it kind of uses up, and you can even do it on the side. A lot of times when you lay it down flat and you use that chisel tip, like the side of it, you're going to get out more ink from it. You see that it's just coming out really beautifully now because I've got it. I'm not using the tip. I've got it slanted. So I'm using all of that ink that has not previously been used. And I really like that. Ooh, and again, this is so cool that when I color this blue, this is turning into purple. And this, I love this. I love it. I love it. I really like how that is. Now, that kind of confuses me because I don't know why that's smearing, because the Sharpie, that blue is supposed to be waterproof Sharpie. But anyway, I'm just viewing it as it's happening the way it's supposed to happen, right? There's that. I'm going to go up through here and make this last and get the last part of this. One thing that you don't want to do in this process, and I say don't want to do, that makes it sound like you're doing something wrong, which you are not. If you've already done this, then do not worry about it. Do not change a thing because it's intuitively done, and that's the way that your spirit self wanted it done. The goal of this, though, is to unite and provide harmony and really infuse all of this energy together. So that's why we take big sections instead of coloring small sections with different layers. Does that make sense? I'm going to go through here and I'm just going to do this middle part, really feeling into that. And I'm going to go, and after the class is over, I'll go back and I'll finish it and I will post it. And I invite you all, if you are not a member of my Facebook group, Debbie Stroud Studio, Art Meets Energy Medicine. Let me really quick, while I have you right here, go and get that link. And I will drop it. It's very soon going to be probably Debbie M Studio or Meadows Studio. I haven't quite felt into what that needs to be, but I will, and I'll let you all know. So I am. Oh, Pamela, you already got. Oh, no. Okay. So if I also want to say this to you, Pamela dropped a link in. Vicky. Gosh, I love reading your all stuff. I'm sorry that I've been so preoccupied. Yes, Vicky, trees talk to each other. Exactly. They have their own system, like how the California redwoods can be almost hollowed out from fires, but still live and grow. I know, isn't that amazing? That's always been amazing for me too. It's just a marvel at the beauty of nature and how everything is so interconnected and things can survive. Oh, someone's cat meowed as you said about us creating life. I think that was my kitty cat. She is so needy and she thinks she's the queen of our house, which she kind of is. Katie, my tree needed a cicada. Oh, I love that. A cicada. I would encourage you to look that up as the spirit medicine of a cicada because there's some kind of significance there. Hope that doesn't confuse the fruit metaphor. No, it doesn't at all. Vicky, my fruit turned out to be the exact number of my resources. Of course it did. Of course. That's so wonderful. I am dropping a link in right now. Pamela dropped a link right before me. And these links will also be sent out to you all tomorrow when I send out the replay. The first link is a winter solstice celebration that Pamela and I are offering. Pamela is a priestess that is rooted and grounded in beautiful ritual, and she has a lot of experience in that. We are joining together to offer a winter solstice celebration for all of the divine feminine. And this thing is going to be wonderfully explosive, beautiful, combining of our collective energies. It's celebrating the divine feminine and stepping into the womb of creation. The energetic exchange, because this thing is going to be a 2-hour thing. It's going to be really involved. It's going to be beautiful, beautiful energy work where we celebrate the winter solstice, the longest day of the year, and it's the turning point where we all turn to spring is coming again, and with it birth. And we are going to really focus on what we are going to birth into our own lives next, and celebrating the powerful, beautiful feminine that we are. And we'll also in that thing do a ritual where we'll combine our energies as a collective to manifest. And that's a really powerful thing. The link is right there. The energetic exchange, the energetic donation is $22, which is a minimal, y'all, for what you're going to get. And that helps us. That helps us grow, and that helps us offer more programs and more energetic healing and reach more people. So I'd love for you all to join us. The cap for that night, we haven't decided on that yet. It will probably be the amount that our Zoom is able to hold, which is usually 100 people. And that figures that number sounds really good to me. I don't know. We might cap it at 99. We'll see. But I invite you. Please join us. It's going to be an amazing, wonderful, powerful time. Powerful time. It's going to be great. So, if you are a member of the Facebook group, you'll get all this information too, and it'll be emailed out and all that mess. Not that mess, but y'all know what I'm talking about. It will be emailed out so you can snatch that opportunity. And seriously, invest in yourself. This is the best thing that you can do. Investing in yourself and your healing journey. So at the end of the winter solstice celebration, after we do the ritual together, and probably in the midst of it, we'll create another artwork, and it may not be exactly this same thing, but it will be intuitive art. Both Pamela and I are certified, and we are certified creatively fit coaches, and this is what we do. We facilitate things like this all of the time for groups of people. In fact, Pamela is active in a large group certification. She's facilitating as one of the guides that guides people through this whole thing. So you are in good hands, and we are both just so tickled. We had a meeting today where both of us got together and we did some deep energetic work together. And it's like when that happens, you just can't make this stuff up. The synchronicities start happening, and you're like, wow, how is that even possible? And then you realize that things change when people unite energy together. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is. Energy shifts when you do the work together, and energy shifts when it shifts when you do the work individually also, but it's so much more amplified when all of our energies are combined together as a collective. So much more. I just really feel led to say this too. The group that Pamela and I are in together is a sacred women's group, and we focus on the 4 elements in transformation and transformational journeys. If you're interested in that, shoot me a message, send me an email, send Pamela a message, send Pamela an email. Our motto for that is that we manifest out of abundance, not out of desperation. So as a sister, we would love to have you in that collective group where we manifest our dreams together. We weave them, we manifest them into being, and there's no other alternative. It happens, and it's a beautiful, magical process that I so believe in, and I so invest my time and my energy in because it means so much to me. I am going to color this one last thing, and then I'm going to open the floor up because it's almost at the 2-hour mark and I don't want it to go any further than that. So while I'm doing this last thing, I want to open up the floor. If you have any questions about anything that's gone on or anything that I've said tonight, or if whatever questions you have, throw them out there to me, and I'm opening up the floor right now for question and answer. If you want to ask me, if you want to ask Pamela, if you just want to ask a general question, whatever it is, either type it or feel free to go ahead and unmute. Or if you have a question about your artwork that you want to get some feedback on, I'll be glad to focus on your screen and give you, any bit of wisdom, intuitive wisdom that I have is free and offered to you.
So Debbie?
Yep.
I don't know if it's a question or not, and I actually put it in the chat, and unfortunately I didn't do it I didn't put it to everyone by mistake, so sorry, Vicky, didn't mean to single you out.
Wait a minute, before you go on any further, who am I talking to?
Oh, it's Elizabeth Mullen.
Okay, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Sorry, I just, here, I can put the video on.
No, you're fine. It's fine. Okay.
So I heard this, someone told me years ago, and it was interesting to think about that the air that we breathe today, since the molecules and whatnot in the atmosphere are still kind of with us, we could be breathing some molecules and breath from Jesus or Buddha or Mother Teresa or whoever. So I thought that was an interesting comment, and it stuck with me. So I just wanted to share that. So
that is true. Thank you, Elizabeth. That's a beautiful comment. Thank you for that. I appreciate you contributing, and that is so true. I've thought about that before, and here's something else that I've thought about before. My guy, my honey, is so full of wisdom, and he's Native American, and he was raised in that heritage. And he told me the other day, he said, think about the water, like when you are, and it goes along that same vein, Elizabeth, think about when you sit by a body of water and you watch it, and you know how I can sit by a body of water and just sit there for hours and just watch the water. There's a reason that people have fountains in their house, right? There's a reason why people love the movement of water. It's very soothing. And he said to me, think about the water that is running in the river, that's flowing in the river. And think about it 2 seconds later. That same water that flowed in the river will no longer ever be there exactly the same. And he was proving the point and trying to get the point across to me of how sacred being right now where we are is, and how sacred each part of the journey is, and how sacred and necessary change is. Yes, that could be the same molecules and the same air that Jesus breathed, but it is also somehow different, right? Because somehow or another, if it did not undergo that change to where it came down as the air and then went through the whole life cycle again, which involves water, right? It involves all of the elements. It never would have been transmuted into air again that we could breathe, right? So another beautiful, thank you so much for bringing that up.
Yeah, it's like a compost. It composts. It does like the full circle of life type of philosophy. So
it does.
Thanks for letting me share.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you. And isn't that just like us too? We do the exact same thing in our lives. It's just the whole cycle of life. And a lot of us may have, twists and turns in our life, but I choose to believe, and I do believe, that all is as it should be. You cannot F this thing up. You can't. You may have a detour, And it may not happen as quick as you want it to happen, but it's going to happen, right? It's all a beautiful, we are all, I want to leave you with this. We are all a beautiful mosaic of all of the life experiences, the battles we've won, and the changes that we have made. There is no good or bad. There just is. There is the mosaic, and it all forms together and all weaves together to make the beautiful pieces of art, the beautiful artworks that are each of our lives. You're beautiful, and you are so loved. You're so loved. I love each of you, and I'm going to leave you with that. You'll get an email tomorrow with the replay link and the 2 links that I told you about. I love you so much. Mwah. Thank you all for being here.